has been 17 years! Hello, I'm back. Nothing. I just reached Casey Cut, DL Max. I was using Shirinu at first, but I was just trying to show that I actually made it to the end with the immortal Sun God of Ra. And as a shining example, you probably don't really need multiple copies of the inbox URs. At most, a second copy of this can help because opening it bricks you. And the second copy of this can help, but I also found that 3 copies of this is extremely dead weight in theory, so if you have 3, consider cutting it 2 if it helps. If you want to play 3, that's fine. But this trap's MVP. It allows you to actually have a turn 1, and it's a shame that many people didn't initially play this at first. But it's just the Immortal Sun God deck. The whole thing is to summon the Wind Dragon of Ra, and that's it. So the Wind Dragon of Ra obviously just can't be special summoned, but there are 2 ways to bypass it. This has the effect to not just search Monster Reborn, but send the Divine Beast to the graveyard while adding it. But you can send it to the graveyard and then you can special summon Wind Dragon of Ra, ignoring summoning conditions with Monster Reborn for that whole turn. You can do it twice, but that's unlikely since getting back Monster Reborn is very, very rough. Since you're only allowed to add Reborn back if you controlled one of your Wind Dragon of Ra cards, and that's the unfortunate part. Sometimes they actually may compulse the regular Wind Dragon of Ra. It won't trigger for Immortal Phoenix to come back, and then you don't have a Divine Beast on the field to retrieve Reborn. They could also just Karma Cut Wind Dragon of Ra and doesn't trigger because it has to be sent to the graveyard. Like, back row is your biggest kryptonite in this deck, and that's it. That's why we're playing 6 copies of back row removal and really nothing else. When it comes to interruptions, it really doesn't matter because the true Sun God, a lot of people forget that this has an effect that monsters special summon at turn that aren't Wind Dragon of Ra or the adjacent Wind Dragon of Ra monsters can't attack the turn they're summoned. It gives them summoning sickness. On top of the fact that you can just end on spear mode and it cannot be targeted by card effects or attack. So you don't really need a lot of monster interruptions. And when I say that the Dark Spell Reincarnation is your best turn 1, it allows you to have an interruption if needed, and it actually comes up a handful of times. And a lot of people just really don't read that the Wind Dragon of Ra, Immortal Phoenix, it's immune to every card effect. It's unaffected. People try to Veiler it. Someone tried to compulse it. They tried everything. They just cannot read. So it's really just a no reading problem. This deck is just very memeish, but it's actually the best way to play any God cards or Exodia at the moment in Duel Links, and it's actually really fun. Unfortunately, this is still not a cheap version since I do play 3 MSTs. I do play 3 Eccentric because it can come up that you summon it on the field to get rid of a monster, especially against Tachyon, where attempting to get rid of a monster either forces out the counter trap or the counter trap's just no longer live. Also because you can't really use both effects more than once. If you happen to draw 2 Eccentric, that second Eccentric, all I can do is try to not a monster. And since you don't really have a normal summon in this deck, it's probably the best thing you can add in. And Dark World Dealings, because sometimes you just want to get rid of some cards to the graveyard to actually make your plays live. So, with that being said, I'm just gonna showcase some replays for you guys, and I'll probably see you never, who knows? Maybe I'll come back at 2027.
Duel.